$800 one-time check for Social Security and Medicare. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now in this video, I want to discuss the details of a one-time $800 check specifically focused on Social Security beneficiaries or those people enrolled in Medicare, what they're now saying, and the necessary steps in order to get these payments. Let's get into it and talk through all the details. However, really quickly before we do, thanks so much for joining me. If you're enjoying this video so far and you want more like it, please make sure to subscribe right down below the video, as that is my dedication, my promise, and my commitment to you and everybody right here in the community to continuously watch all this new information hitting the wire each and every day, doing the research and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay posted on what's actually happening and how it may impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, and of course anything popping up right now you can possibly grab and or take advantage of. As we all know, there's a lot of new information coming out of Congress as well as the administration right now talking about Social Security and all of those beneficiaries who are receiving benefits from the Social Security Administration. We've got to continue watching all this stuff very closely. Anyway, I'm doing all that research for you and bringing it to you every single day in these videos. So again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and I'll be here for you no matter what. That's my promise, and I'm sticking to it. All right, thanks so much. Let's jump into it and talk about these one-time $800 payments for millions upon millions of people and what the necessary steps would be in order for these to actually be sent out to a lot of people out there who could really use this. But here's the thing. $800. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to say like $800 is not that much because it would certainly help out in a big way. But realistically, this probably needs to be significantly more than that, right? I think we can all probably agree 800 would be awesome. That'd be super, super nice. Help out a lot of people in a big way. But realistically, $800 would go very fast, right? I think we all completely understand $800 would zip right on by, right? Anyway, let me talk through the details about this because this is something that I continue to see popping up time and time again. It's not all that often, but every couple months something like this pops up where some lawmakers are out there talking about it, mostly Bernie Sanders. Let's be real for a second, okay? Mostly Bernie Sanders coming out talking about things like this. So let's talk about what's going on and why I'm pointing out Bernie Sanders. And again, whether you like him or you don't, you gotta watch Bernie Sanders very closely because how many times have we seen over the last couple of years, Bernie Sanders comes out and says something, he wants to do something, and we all think, oh, yeah, right, it's just Bernie talking again. And then sure enough, it happens, right? I mean, how many times have we seen that here over the last several years? We've seen it, okay? You got to watch Bernie very closely. Like I said, whether you like him or you don't, you just got to keep an eye on him. You never know what he's up to, and he's always got something up his sleeve, right? By the way, he also gets a ton of attention because he's so loud, right? He makes such a big deal. He really rattles the cage. So again, you just got to watch him. Anyway, here's a big thing that they're talking about. So we've been hearing about this for many years now, right? Not Social Security, Medicare for all, right? Medicare expansion, adding Medicare, hearing, dental, and vision coverages, and universal health care. We've been hearing all of this stuff for a very long time now, right? In fact, we've been hearing it for many years. However, we continue to hear it on one hand, oh, we're going to do this, and on the other hand, they come out and say, nope, we're not going to do this anytime soon. So we've been hearing a lot of talk about this, and this is something that Bernie Sanders really, really wants to do, which is Medicare for all, right? He wants to expand this out. He wants this universal health care here in the United States. We hear about it all the time. Like many of these other countries out there who have, universal health care, right? That's what Bernie Sanders wants as well. And there's many other lawmakers out there. So it's not just Bernie. There's a bunch of people that also want this. Well, we also recognize at the same time, to be real with ourselves, universal health care and Medicare for all is probably not coming anytime soon. We know this, okay? Even though they continue to talk about it, and even though it continues to get a lot of attention at times, we know that if they were to do something like this, it would take many, many years for this to be brought in and many years for this to be implemented. It would take a very long time, maybe a decade, something like this. It would just be a very long process to get implemented. However, they've also been talking about a lot of different things as well is, okay, well, if we can't get Medicare for all, and if we can't get Medicare expansion to essentially be universal health care here in the United States, let's expand Medicare to include hearing, dental, and vision coverages, right? We've been hearing about this one again for a couple years as well. Now, this is also kind of interesting because, like I said, as we continue to hear all this talk about Medicare for all and things like this, ultimately they revert back and say, well, okay, if we can't do Medicare for all, let's just expand Medicare. Okay, well, what would that actually mean here? And again, this is something they've been floating for a couple years now. They've been talking about this a lot. It comes and goes, just like so many things that we've seen out there for the last several years. They talk about it, and then it disappears for a month or 2 or 3. And then, of course, it comes back and gets attention for like 2, 3, 4 days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then it disappears again. Well, here we are. We're in that phase right now where they're talking about it again, and this is what they're now saying. All right, so as I mentioned, so right now, we know that Medicare, it's great, right? It covers about 64 million people. As of right now, about 64 million people who are also enrolled in Social Security. Not everybody, but a lot of people are also enrolled in Social Security coverages. About 64 million people are enrolled in Medicare. Awesome. We know that Medicare is good, but at the same time, it's not perfect, right? We know that, okay? Well, here's the thing. They want to extend this out and include hearing, dental, and vision coverages. Now, this has been a vision of Bernie Sanders for many years. He's been working on this. We've been hearing about it for, 2, 3 years now. They've been saying things like this. And again, is this going to happen anytime soon? Well, if they do something, it's certainly going to happen a lot sooner than a universal Medicare across the entire country, right? We know that. If they were going to extend it out, and maybe this is the necessary step that they need to take first before they can actually implement universal health care called Medicare for all, right? So again, maybe they know this, and let's be real for a second. They obviously know this, right? Which is why they're trying to do this now so that they can ultimately push this into a Medicare for all type of situation. Anyway, so here's what it comes down to. And they implemented this, or they proposed this a couple years ago, and this is something that continues to come back, which is in the event of this expanded Medicare, okay? So they want to expand Medicare as in to cover hearing, dental, and vision coverages for the roughly 64 million beneficiaries out there. So here's what they're talking about. Well, in the event that they do this, they know that number one, dental is way too expensive to include, right? They know that, okay? They've run some studies on it. They've talked about it, and they've clearly seen that all the numbers, it would just simply not make sense to include dental coverages because we all know dental coverage is very, very expensive, right? So as a result of that, they feel like, okay, let's add hearing coverage, let's add vision coverage, but, well, dental coverage, we're not at that point yet, right? They can't just justify it yet. So what they're saying is, let's just send out everybody who's enrolled in Medicare a one-time $800 prepaid card. It would act just like a debit card, right? Yes, I have talked about this before in other videos, and again, this is something that continues to float around. Now, what is the likelihood of something like this happening? Again, good question. It all depends on, will they actually come forward and work this through Congress? And actually, will they discuss the details of expanding Medicare? And then, of course, working through the details of this so-called $800 dental coverage is what it would essentially come out to be. So basically, that's exactly what they want to do. So rather than actually including dental coverages in, they've said, why don't we just send out a one-time $800 prepaid debit card to the roughly 64 million people, and they can use that for their dental coverages. Well, clearly they haven't been to the dentist anytime soon because they don't have a clue on how much dental procedures and dental visits actually cost. Just going for a simple cleaning or something like that and a check from the dentist is like a couple $100, okay? So, if you have to have any type of work done, that $800 is going to be gone in the snap of a fingers, right? We all recognize that, right? It's very, very fast to go. So $800, it's certainly a start, but it's not going to get anybody anything near what they actually need from the dentist in this case. But this is the discussion that they're having, which is, okay, the concession for taking out dental coverages would be a one-time prepaid $800 card for 64 million Medicare beneficiaries. That is what they're discussing about this. Okay, so I think we can all probably recognize, okay, that would be nice, but what is the real likelihood of this actually happening, okay? What it really comes down to is, will Congress actually work forward with the Medicare expansion, okay? That is the most important part that we need to talk about right now, is what is the likelihood of them actually doing this? Well, again, it's been up in the air here. They've talked about it, and they all probably recognize that this is actually something that's very important, especially for the 64 million people enrolled in Medicare. Think about it. If vision and hearing coverages are not covered, and again, this is something that Bernie Sanders talks about a lot as well, is you probably heard him talk about this. In fact, I've had quotes of him before in other videos over the last couple of years where he's come out and said something like, why are seniors being denied their glasses, their reading glasses, right? Glasses are very expensive in a lot of cases. They can be $100, $200, $300, $400, $500 in some cases. They can be very, very expensive. Now, again, obviously you can get cheaper ones than that, but a lot of times they're very expensive. Now, Bernie Sanders has also talked about, Why are seniors being denied things like hearing aids, right? Again, very expensive. They can be thousands upon thousands of dollars. Who's going to come out of pocket that much, for hearing aids? Don't get me wrong. Some people certainly will, but most people would probably say, I'm just going to live with it because I can't afford $3,000, $5,000 or something like this to buy hearing aids. And again, exactly what Bernie Sanders is saying is, why are these people not covered with these types of coverages? Well, with Medicare, this should be automatically in there, right? Which is why they want to expand this. Now, again, which is also why they want to expand dental as well. But again, they know it's very expensive, right? Things like dentures, and they know also as what with some other studies that they've ran on this. Here's an interesting point. By the way, I had no intention of talking about this really quickly, but let me throw this out there because I've read additional studies on this, and they found that just maintaining dental health, as in regular cleanings and checkups with a dentist, and going and fixing teeth and things like this, broken, cracked fillings, what are those things called? Crowns, getting crowns when they're necessary, things like this. It actually leads to better overall health with somebody as well, because if they have, proper dental coverages and proper dental screenings and things like this and proper dental procedures that are taking place, they find that, hey, people actually, they eat better and they have a better diet, things like that, because now they can eat more healthy foods and stuff like that. So they found that it actually has prolonged effects on somebody's actual overall health, just by maintaining their dental health as well. So I don't know, pretty interesting stuff, right? So who would have thought, right? But anyway, that's what some of the studies are showing. So this is what it comes down to. Essentially what it comes down to is concessions for basically removing dental coverages and saying, here, everybody, take a one-time $800 card, prepaid debit card that you can use on your dental procedures, in exchange for basically dental coverages being covered by Medicare, right? So that is what they're talking about. Anyway, of course, as I get more details on this or anything else that's being said about this, or even Medicare expansion, or anything when it comes to universal health care like Medicare for all, and again, I think we all recognize that is something that may happen at some point, realistically, probably will happen at some point, but it's not going to be for a very long time. Maybe in the next decade. I mean, seriously, it's going to be a very long process. If they wanted to get something like that done, it would take a very, very long time, many, many years, and they know that just as much as we do, right? So anyway, this is what it comes down to, the one-time $800 prepaid card. As of right now, obviously these are not going out as of now. It comes down to Congress and their ability to move forward with expanding Medicare to hearing, dental, and vision. If they don't cover dental, then that is where this $800 card comes in and where they would want to distribute this. So again, it would be going out to Medicare necessarily beneficiaries, about 64 million people as of right now. So yeah, interesting stuff, right? Anyway, as I do get more details, of course, I'll bring it to your attention right away. So please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands upon thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, take care, and I'll catch you again later.